From WLWT, this is Issues.
Hello, welcome to Issues and happy Black History Month. We're going to have a little segment for you a little bit later about that, a Black History Moment. I'm Jan-Michele Lemon Kearney with Sesh Communications and the Cincinnati Herald. We have a really great show today. A little later, we're going to talk about somebody who is making a difference in terms of urban violence. I mean, it's huge, and this is something you definitely want to stay tuned for. First, we're going to talk to one of my absolute favorite people, Dwight Ferrell. He is president and general manager of Metro, and you know, my husband is the Metro poster child. I mean, he takes the Metro bus everywhere. He loves it. Then he writes little poems while he's on the bus. But welcome, Dwight. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. Yes, he is the poster child for Metro, and we appreciate him riding.
Yes, he loves it. So whenever people say they can't get somewhere, you know, they don't have a ride, it's like, oh, no, you can get on the bus. The bus will take you everywhere. Now you have a whole new reinventing Metro program going on.
Yes, we do. We're very excited about it. And reinventing Metro really means reinventing it, transit a different kind of way.
Right.
And so we recognize the issues and the barriers to our current system, which is financially unsustainable on its current path. And what we're proposing is what the future can be like. With transit being delivered differently.
Right. And let me just interrupt for a minute, because not too long ago you guys had some focus groups and some community meetings, and you got a lot of input from the community. So it's not like you just came up with this. I mean, this is what the public is saying they want.
Yes.
Which is a great way to do it.
Which is a lot of input. And what we recognize is that public transportation is an essential part of a region's economic vitality.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So as evidenced by the whole Amazon HQ2 thing, recognizing that a robust public transportation system is necessary for growth.
Right, people have to get to jobs.
They have to get to jobs. But the other thing that's important is people want to use it for things that they used to not want to use it for. So I want to use it to go to the grocery store. I want to use it to go to school. I want to use it to go to church. I don't want to own a car.
Right.
And there's somebody who lives in Cincinnati without a car. I take all of the different modes in order to be able to move about.
Right.
And reinventing Metro, for example, we've got this partnership we announced the other day with Uber. So we
that was exciting and surprising. Yeah.
Well, when we look at the reinventing Metro plans, we talked to our board about what could be done at various sales tax levels. And so, you know, the kind of transformational public transportation system is one that not only provides public transit as we kind of understand it today, but also has a mobility piece in it that allows some demand responsive, like what you would do with Uber. So we envision having a system that I take out my phone and I want to go wherever it is that I want to go. I put it in, and the app says you take this much on the bus. The rest of it, there's going to be Uber or somebody else who's going to be there that'll take you the rest of the way.
And they'll be there waiting for you.
And they'll be there waiting for you.
Wow.
And paying for it. And so we think that that is the future of transit.
I love that.
And so
and it sounds economical too.
Well, actually, it does. We think it gives us a much broader reach. Currently, our current route structure serves about 80% of the jobs in Hamilton County are within a quarter of a mile of our current bus routes.
Okay.
The challenge is the frequency of service, how often it comes.
Right.
The span of service, how early, how late, and particularly in the middle of the day and nights and weekends.
Right. Yeah.
And so all of those things, we want shorter trip times. And so that's a big part of it. Not to mention, we want our experience on the bus to be a nice one. So we're powered.
And, you know, I've never had a bad experience on the bus.
Well,
I usually meet people, and I have a good time on the bus.
Well, you know, that is true. And even in the Reinventing Metro plan, we see it where we've even started to do some of this now, where you'll be able to plug your phone up and get power.
Nice. Oh, good. Okay.
So we've got buses now. Some of them have that, and every bus we buy going forward, Wi-Fi. And so all of that, because you want to be able to get on the bus and stream or check email or what have you.
Yeah, and we're always plugged in, wired up, right.
And so we want to, in the Reinventing Metro plan, the transit experience to be like that.
Right. That's wonderful. So, and so some of the things that are happening, there are new routes cross town. And
Yes.
I understand there are ways that people now can do more cross town without changing downtown.
So in the plan, we talk about having 24-hour service on some routes.
Oh, wow.
A lot more crosstown service so that everything doesn't have to come downtown. And with the crosstown stuff, that means that I can get from point A to point B a lot quicker.
Right.
And the more frequent service, even if you have to transfer, because the buses come more frequent.
Right,
I
you're
don't
not
have
waiting
much,
a long time.
That's right. So that's all
And you can check your schedule, so you can plan it before you leave your house.
Right, and
Yeah.
even now you can buy your bus fare on the phone.
Yeah,
even
I love
now.
that. Right.
So what we have is that on our website, go-metro.com.
Okay, go-metro.com.
Go-metro.com. Then you can see the Reinventing Metro plan at the various levels and what it entails. And we obviously are going to have a lot more outreach into the community.
This is so exciting.
As the board decides
Right.
what it wants to do, and it wants lots of input from the community on what do you want.
Right. So I think that's wonderful. So now the connection with Uber starts when?
Well, we had the announcement, I believe it was on Tuesday, and so we met with them. We'd had some meetings before, and so we're on the ground now. Data sharing is the first part of it.
Okay.
And so by that, one of the pieces that we're missing is where they're picking up.
Okay.
And dropping off.
Right.
And so we want that information to be able to see how we can modify our service. So we expect that probably over the next 6 to 9 months, we'll start to be able to use some of that. So yeah.
So probably by this summer, I'm thinking.
Well, probably by the time
early fall.
right.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to use that. And then of course, we're ultimately looking for some technological solution that allows us to be able to use a common platform to be able to provide
This
your
is so
service.
exciting.
Yes.
So go-metro.com.
Go-metro.com.
And that's available now. People can get on that.
And look at the Reinventing Metro plan.
Yeah, I think Eric gets on that to actually do his planning because
Yes.
we only have one car, so he takes the bus everywhere. So
And just understand that we are constantly evolving and changing, and so there's more to come.
All right, thank you, Dwight.
Thank you for having me.
Stick with us. We'll be right back in a moment. Welcome back. Okay, I know that you know Eric M. Ellis because Eric is just so well known for making a huge difference in Cincinnati, and especially in the area of diversity. And I should say you're president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation. But
Right.
people know you as a diversity trainer. You work with Fortune 500 companies.
Right.
And a little later, we're going to talk about some other stuff you're doing that's pretty surprising. Maybe not for you, though, because
Right.
you're always out there doing things.
Right.
So we're going to bring on Kevin McWhorter a little bit later and talk about this urban violence. But let's start by talking about diversity. And you've got a book here, Diversity Conversations. And so, so welcome.
Jan, it's good to be
I saw you at the African American Chamber Exchange.
Right.
And I'm like, I haven't talked to Eric for a long
Right.
time. So it's like, we got to get you on the show.
I
So this
appreciate
is great.
the invitation.
Yeah.
We are celebrating 27 years of being in business this year.
Wow.
We have been working with, as you said, major corporations, government agencies, educational institutions. Toyota is a client of ours. We're celebrating 20 years of service,
Wow.
training team members at Toyota all across
That's
the United
fantastic.
States. So.
Yeah. I drive a Toyota, so yeah, I'm always happy to hear about Toyota.
Great company.
Yeah.
And in this current environment where we are almost in the midst of ideological civil war,
Right.
people are really beginning to look at how do we engage in healthy conversations around diversity. And so
Yeah.
the book that I wrote,
Yeah, tell us about this.
I wrote Diversity Conversations originally in 2012, and then sort of did a second edition in 2014. The book was, the foreword was written by John Pepper, And I never
Former
imagined.
CEO of Procter & Gamble.
And the
I think
Walt
everybody
Disney.
knows John, but just in case.
Absolutely,
Okay.
and the Walt Disney Company. And I never imagined that I would sell over 15,000 copies, that
Wow.
3 universities would utilize the book as required reading, 10 different police departments, 15 different corporations.
Fantastic, yeah. So people are listening, that's good.
Yeah, and it was...
And it shows that folks understand that diversity is really important,
Right.
and it's something, you know, we need to be aware of. So companies,
Right.
Fortune 500s have been doing this kind of training, I mean, with you for like
Right.
quite some time.
Right.
Yeah.
And certainly we have appreciated organizations that are really serious about trying to do the right thing. This is not an easy subject.
Right.
And so being able to help people to understand unconscious bias,
Right.
and then how to navigate those conversations in healthy, productive ways, because we're not doing this right now as a nation.
Right. And is it, you know, would it be fair to say everyone has some unconscious bias?
Absolutely. I think that it's important for us to recognize that all people have prejudices. The majority of our biases.
That's hard to admit. I
It
mean,
is.
everybody's like,
Right.
I'm not prejudiced. I don't have any prejudice.
Right.
Yeah.
The majority of our biases are unconscious. And I think that what's happening today is because of the internet, people are, it's almost hard to distinguish between facts and counterfacts. People are today spending a whole lot more time on social media with like-minded people,
Right.
which in many ways is
Just reinforcing their viewpoint, but without hearing others.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and almost creating like tribalism.
Yeah.
And so
And that's
it's
pretty dangerous.
It really
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah.
so if you're a patriot at all, then you've got to be looking at how people are being manipulated in order to educate the average citizen, if you will, to become an open, critical thinker around
Right.
human differences.
So how does that work in the workplace?
Right.
Because, you know, if you're spending your time with people who are like-minded and who have the same prejudices you have, and then you bring that to the workplace, and now you're dealing with people who aren't like you, who don't think like you.
Right.
And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I'm just
Right.
saying there are a lot of differences.
That's
So how do we work that out?
Well, I think what we're seeing is that the companies that have more diversity on their boards, that are embracing diversity, are more successful. We know that they are economically more successful than their competitors.
And I would think better work environment.
Absolutely.
Right.
And in today's world where digital transparency allows potential employees to kind of see what the culture of an organization is like,
Right.
we know through research that 63% of people don't trust their leaders. And I think a lot of that happens because of a lack of tending to building a culture of respect.
Yeah.
But those organizations that get that, especially those organizations that are dependent on talent, they
Right.
really recognize that if you're going to be successful at attracting and retaining the best people, you got to be working on your
Right.
culture.
And it's hard because a lot of people wonder why their companies are not diverse, and it says look around who's hiring. People hire people who look like themselves, who are like themselves, and they don't realize that. That's that implicit bias.
Right. And what we're then in need of is, you just can't, when you talk about implicit bias, it's sort of the hot thing now. And so people think we can take an assessment, send people through a one-day
And that's
seminar,
it. Yeah. And we're done. We're ready. We're fixed.
As you know, Jan, this is something that you have to work at over time.
Right.
And you really have to allow people to do some assessments. There's one that was done on a sort of Harvard implicit bias project.
Right.
They can do it online. So it's important to understand your biases and then to develop some skills and techniques and be able to practice those.
Right. So we're encourage people to get diversity
Thank you.
conversations.
Absolutely.
We're going to come back though, because we're going to do a whole nother topic
Absolutely.
about urban violence and some surprising things you're doing in the community. Hey, but we've got a Black History moment on King Records. This is going to blow your socks off. Take a look.
WLWT celebrates moments in Cincinnati Black history.
King Records started in 1943 by Sid Nathan. From 1943 to 1971, King gave the world bluegrass, R&B, rock and roll, doo-wop, country, soul, and funk. The original headquarters was located in Evanston, a Cincinnati neighborhood. King first specialized in country music with artists such as Bill Beach. King also had an African-American label, Queen Records, which later merged into the King label, and most notably, Federal Records, which launched the career of singer James Brown. This side of King outpaced the hillbilly recordings with artists such as Joe Tex, Hank Ballard and the Midnighters, and Valerie Carr. The mixing of the country and R&B sides of the label became one of the most successful features of this organization. The entire production process of King was done in-house, which made it unique among the independent labels, with blacks and whites working side by side.
Welcome back. In case I didn't mention it, Diversity Conversations, Eric Ellis's book, can be gotten online on Eric's website, Integrity Dev. But you know what? You can go to WLWT.com to link to Eric's website. And also, you know, it's at Amazon, it's everywhere. So Diversity Conversations. But you know, I want to talk about something else now. Because when we were at the African American Chamber Exchange, you started talking about the work you're doing with gang members and urban violence. So let me introduce Kevin McWhorter, who's with AECOM, but you're really here because you're Eric's friend, and somehow Eric got you involved in this kind of, I'm like, whoa, this sounds really deep. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I've been working with police departments over the last 15 years doing implicit bias training with law enforcement. I was in Springfield, Ohio, and the president of the NAACP said, Eric, we need you to help us deal with the gangs in our town. These kids are killing each other.
Right.
And so I met a couple of gang leaders.
That's a dangerous game to get involved
in. Absolutely. And then last year, in January of last year, a good friend of mine, Dan Hoffheimer, got shot driving home.
I used to work for Dan.
Yeah, Dan's a great
love
guy.
him.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
goodness.
do too. I love him to death.
He's fantastic.
And so I wrote a letter to everybody on the board of the Freedom Center and said, when are we going to recognize that these bullets don't have any names?
Right.
We've got to really become more engaged in talking to young people and trying to actually recruit drug dealers, gang leaders to make different decisions.
Right.
And so that's what we're doing, is really trying to negotiate with drug dealers, gang members, the measurable reduction in violence in exchange for the measurable increase in the legal money that drug dealers, gang members can make in partnership with traditional business owners.
Right, because a lot of it is really economics, isn't it? I mean, you know, I'm sure there are lots of different elements. So part of it is people need to make a living, and when the economic opportunities aren't there, and then you've got a gang calling, you say, hey, young brother, you can come with me and make some money. You know, although, you know, you might be dead next year, you know, which is just horrible. Like, we're losing so many young guys. Kevin, tell us how you got involved with this.
Yeah, so Eric and I are essentially lifelong friends, and we were sitting at the Jazz Festival last year, and he rolled out this vision to me, and immediately I was on. And one of the drivers behind being involved with this project was, I was part of an architectural team years ago that was involved with designing and building a medium and security prison here in Ohio. And when I looked at the time, energy, effort, and the thought processes involved with building a prison and housing people, I said, as soon as I got the opportunity to prevent people from going here, then I would be involved with it. So when Eric rolled out this vision to me last year,
we don't want all our young guys locked up. We want them, you know, with their families and out there being productive. You know, so much young talent. Oh, that's wonderful. You were thinking like that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I had been involved for years with Whiz Kids, and it was an opportunity to be involved with kids on a one-on-one basis. But I think that this opportunity allows me to drive in a much wider lane and impact more people.
So how did two guys like you know, dressed in your suits and everything, and you know, but I know you've been relating to young people a long time. You have the record company going on, and I know your house is like, you're probably a revolving door of
well,
I've
been a coach too. I've been a coach in AAU basketball. We've got Felicia Bell is working with us.
Oh, cool. Love her.
Stan Ross is working with us. Tommy Lewis.
Okay.
And so we really believe that maybe one of the greatest untapped resources in our country are drug dealers, gang leaders in the inner city. And we really have believed that instead of sort of picketing on Sunday afternoon with retirees talking about get out of our neighborhood, that we thought that there's value to trying to identify and negotiate with leaders and say, I'd like for you to consider basically a partnership, a two-way save, We're not simply trying to save the hood.
Right.
I believe that the black middle class needs a partner as well.
Okay.
That a lot of the courage that we had during the 60s, because we were entrepreneurs, when integration came along, integration is a good thing, but many African Americans
stopped supporting each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we did.
And so now we're in corporations, isolated, and so the courage that young drug dealers are showing on the streets, some of that courage is needed. So it's a two-way exchange.
And I can see the respect you have, because you're going
Absolutely.
beyond the illegal activity and looking at the person
Right.
and saying, wait a minute, you've got some leadership skills, you're smart,
Right.
you know, I mean, the recruiting,
Right.
economic skills, and let's channel that somewhere else.
I'll give you an example. So I was, so Stan had me come over and talk to about 15 young guys through his program, Serve. And, you know, I started talking to these guys and asking them to brainstorm violence reduction initiatives. And at the end of the day, guys started saying, what would Cincinnati be like if you couldn't kill anybody in our city?
Wouldn't that be great? Oh my
And
goodness.
so what I saw is a sense of pride started overcoming them, that we can do something different. And I've learned from a lot of these guys the risk that they're under every day.
Right. Okay, so Eric and Kevin, give us a phone number to call so people can get more information. I mean, we really need another hour or two to really talk about all the great stuff you're doing. But give us a phone number.
513-874-6836.
Say it one more time.
513-874-6836.
Okay, and they're calling Integrity Development Corporation.
Exactly.
They can ask
And
for you,
that's right, and
Eric
we're working
Ellis,
on
and
both
say,
of
hey,
these.
you know, saw you on issues. I want to get involved with this. You know, saving our community, saving our young people.
Right.
You know, which is just wonderful. So thank you for your work. Thank you, Kevin. I mean, it's dangerous. You know, it's dangerous out there. I mean, this is no joke. So I really commend you all for, you know, your involvement and commitment. So thank you so
for the
much.
invitation.
You have to come back.
Okay.
All right, stick with us. We'll be back in a moment with some community events. Welcome back. We've got Michael Bobo, who has some community events.
First up, we have I Am Me Youth Symposium, Saturday, February 10th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. That'll be at President's Hall, 2700 Glenway Avenue. It's a free event. They're going to have free t-shirts, free lunch. You got breakout sessions of loving myself, finding and claiming my value. That's a lot going on. Next up is For the Love of the Community, Friday, February 16th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Phoenix, located at 812 Brace Street. Tickets are $75. For more information, call 724-4483. That's 724-GIVE. Last is live CD concert recording, Saturday, February 24th, 8 p.m. at the Greenwich, 2442 Gilbert Avenue. Tickets are $30. For students, $15, and VIP is $40. For more information, call 937-883-5044.
That's great. I want to say nominations are open for the Nefertiti Awards and the Bright Awards. Hey, listen, you know, Michael Bobo has a new job. We're so excited for her at New Prospect Baptist Church, Reverend Damon Lynch III. But she's not gone forever, because we're going to have her come back on the show and still work with us, because she's so popular. Everybody loves her. So, Reverend Lynch, you have to give her a break on Wednesday morning. Also, we're going to have Jen Henry, who's going to join us doing the calendar. Jen might be able to walk out here with Jeff in a minute. So maybe you can see her. But we want you to have a fantastic week. You know, Black History is every day of the year, but we're celebrating especially this month. So have a great week. Stay safe and stay positive. Hey, Jen, come on out.